Everybody says they want to make $100,000 a year, but almost nobody wants the lifestyle that actually creates it. Because the habits that build serious money are rarely exciting. They do not look flashy. They do not go viral. They do not make people clap for you online. In fact, most of them look boring. Very boring. No Lamborghinis, no overnight success story. No, I quit my job in 30 days and made 6 figures. Just quiet habits, simple behaviors, repeated choices, the kind that do not feel dramatic today but can completely change your life over time. And the truth is, these habits work. Not sometimes. Not when the stars align. Not only for lucky people, they work over and over again. So if you are serious about making more money, this video is not about the flashy path, it is about the real one. You've probably been introduced to the sexy version of money, the version that looks fast, the version that looks flashy, the version that makes it seem like wealth is always one big move away. A lucky trade, a viral business idea, one online win, one sudden breakthrough, one overnight success story. And because that version gets the most attention, a lot of people start believing that serious income must come from dramatic moments. But that is usually not how it happens. Real people who make $100,000 or more a year are often doing things that look painfully ordinary. They plan, they track, they repeat, they stay disciplined. They make choices that most people would call boring. And that is exactly why this video matters. Because today I want to show you 20 unsexy habits that quietly help people build serious money. Here's the part most people miss. Making money is not really about hype. It is not about looking successful. It is not about sounding ambitious. It is not about posting goals, buying courses, or talking like you are about to change your life. Making money is mostly about habits, not random effort, not motivation when you feel inspired, not intensity for 3 days, and burnout for the next 10. I mean, habits you can repeat when nobody is watching. Habits that still happen on regular Tuesdays. Habits that still happen when you are tired. Habits that still happen when there is no applause, no instant reward, and no exciting story to tell. That is where real income starts. Because $100,000 is not some magical number that lands on lucky people. It is usually the result of repeated behaviors. It is a behavioral outcome. And once you understand that, money stops feeling mysterious. It starts feeling trainable. Let's start with the habits people do not see. Because before money changes in your bank account, it usually changes in your thinking. And this first category matters a lot, because many people are not broke because they are lazy. They are broke because they think in ways that keep them trapped. Habit number 1, delaying gratification. People who build serious money get comfortable choosing long-term gain over short-term comfort. They can say no now, so life can look better later. That means not upgrading everything the second they get a little extra money, not moving into the more expensive apartment too early, not buying the car payment just because they finally can, not celebrating every income increase by increasing their lifestyle. A lot of people get a raise and immediately create new bills. But serious earners often do the opposite. They invest first. They save first. They build first, because they understand something most people hate to admit. A better future is often built by tolerating an unimpressive present. Habit number 2, tracking money regularly. People who make real money usually know where their money is going. Not in a stressful, obsessive way, just in an aware way. They know what is coming in. They know what is going out. They know what is leaking. And this sounds basic, but it changes everything. Because when you do not track money, money feels random. You say things like, I do not even know where it all went. But serious earners do know where it went, because they check. They notice subscriptions. They notice impulse spending. They notice patterns. And once you can see your money clearly, you can finally direct it. Habit number 3, thinking in yearly terms, not daily. This one is powerful because broke thinking is often very emotional and very short-term. One slow week and people panic. One bad month and they think everything is failing. But people who build $100,000 and beyond usually zoom out. They understand that a Tuesday does not define a year. A slow month does not define a career. A rough season does not mean the plan is broken. They think in terms of quarters. They think in terms of years. They think in terms of compounding. And that mindset keeps them calmer, steadier, and less reactive. Because when you stop measuring your life in tiny emotional moments, you make better decisions. Habit number 4, detaching ego from money. This is a big one. A lot of people do not spend because they need to. They spend because they want to feel successful. They want to look like they are doing well. They want to impress people. They want their life to appear expensive. But serious money usually grows when ego gets smaller. These people are not asking, how can I look rich? They are asking, how can I become stronger financially? So instead of spending for applause, they spend for growth. They buy tools, they buy time, they buy education, they buy assets. They are not using money to perform an identity. They are using money to build one. Habit number 5, accepting boring consistency. This might be one of the most important habits in the entire video. because people love exciting effort. They love the big burst of motivation, the new plan, the fresh start, the dramatic comeback. But serious money usually comes from boring consistency, doing the same helpful things over and over, budgeting again, saving again, selling again, learning again, working again. No adrenaline, no dramatic soundtrack, just repeatable behavior. And that is what makes it powerful, because excitement is hard to sustain. But repeatability changes lives, and this is the part many people overlook. Nothing here looks exciting. But this is where everything starts. Because before you make more money, you usually have to become the kind of person who can handle more money. Now let's talk about the second category, work habits. Because mindset matters, yes. But at some point, money has to be produced. And this is where a lot of people get stuck. They want better results, but their work habits are completely disconnected from the income they say they want. Habit number 6, showing up even when unmotivated. People who earn serious money do not depend on motivation the way most people do. They do not wake up and ask, do I feel inspired today? They show up anyway. They work on the days it feels easy, and they work on the days it feels flat, and they work on the days when nobody is clapping, because they understand that if your effort depends on emotion, your income will be unstable. Motivation is nice, but it is unreliable. Serious earners build routines that can survive low-energy days. That is why they keep moving while other people keep restarting. Habit number 7, doing the same profitable task repeatedly. A lot of people stay broke because they are always changing direction. New strategy this week, new business model next week, new trend next month. They keep chasing what is new instead of staying with what works. But serious earners often do something much less exciting. They find a profitable task and they repeat it over and over. They get good at selling, or writing, or marketing, or leading, or building, or solving one valuable problem. And instead of abandoning it for something shinier, they refine it. That is how mastery happens. And mastery usually pays more than trend chasing ever will. Habit number: improving one skill deeply. This connects directly to the last point. People who make strong money usually have depth, not just interest, not just surface level knowledge. Depth. They do not collect 10 random beginner skills and hope something works. They take one skill that the market values and they get very, very good at it. That could be communication, sales, design, project management, editing, negotiation, coding, strategy. Whatever it is, they go deeper than most people are willing to go. And that depth becomes valuable. Because in most industries, people do not get paid well for being casually interested. They get paid well for being useful. Habit number 9, prioritizing high-income tasks. This one is so practical. A lot of people feel busy all day and still make no real progress. Why? Because they are spending most of their time doing low-value work, answering things, organizing things, tweaking things, perfecting things, planning things forever. It feels productive, but it does not always produce money. Serious earners learn to identify the tasks that actually move income, the tasks that bring in clients, the tasks that improve output, the tasks that close deals, the tasks that strengthen results. They understand the difference between being busy and being effective. And that difference changes everything. Habit number 10, finishing what they start. This one sounds simple, but it separates people more than they realize. Most people start. They start the course. They start the business idea. They start the side hustle. They start the budget. They start the plan. But very few people finish. An unfinished effort does not compound. Unfinished ideas do not pay well. Unfinished discipline does not create results. Serious earners are not always the smartest people in the room. Sometimes they are just the people who stayed long enough to complete the thing, to keep building, to keep improving, to keep going until something actually became useful. And honestly, that matters more than people think. Relatable closing line for this section: the difference between broke and $100,000 is often not talent. It is follow-through. Now let's get into the third category, money habits, because this is where a lot of people get confused. They think making more money is the whole game. It is not. A lot of people make more and still stay financially stuck. Why? Because income can grow while habits stay immature. And if your money habits are weak, more income just gives your bad patterns more room to breathe. Habit number 11, living below their means. People who build serious money usually spend less than they earn. Not forever. Not because they want to look deprived, not because they are against enjoying life, but because they understand that wealth needs room to breathe. It needs margin. It needs leftover money. It needs a gap between what comes in and what goes out. And that means, for a season, sometimes longer than people expect. They live below their means. They do not use every income increase as permission to consume more. They keep their lifestyle a little lighter than their paycheck can technically support, because that extra room becomes savings. It becomes investment. It becomes ownership. It becomes options. And options are expensive to build, but priceless to have. Habit number 12, avoiding lifestyle inflation. This one catches a lot of people. Their income goes up, and almost immediately their expenses rise to meet it. Better car, Better apartment, better clothes, more subscriptions, more convenience, more small upgrades that start to feel normal. And suddenly, a person making far more than they used to still feels financially pressured, because they did not just increase income, they increased maintenance. Serious earners are careful here. When they make more, they do not automatically start spending more. They pause, they ask, do I really need this upgrade right now? They let their income grow faster than their lifestyle. And over time, that gap becomes power. Habit number 13, reinvesting income. This is where money starts acting differently. Instead of treating every extra dollar like spending money, serious earners often recycle part of it back into growth. They reinvest. That could mean investing in the market. It could mean reinvesting in a business. It could mean buying tools that increase output. It could mean education that sharpens a skill. It could mean support that saves time and raises capacity. The point is, they do not only ask, what can this money buy me today? They also ask, how can this money help me make more money later? And that question changes everything, because consumption feels good in the moment, but reinvestment quietly changes your future. Habit number 14, avoiding unnecessary debt. Now, not all debt is the same, but a lot of people borrow for the wrong reasons. They borrow to keep up. They borrow to perform success. They borrow because they want the image now, even if the stability is not there yet. And that kind of debt becomes heavy. Because now your future income is already assigned. Now your next paycheck is already busy. Now your freedom is being used to pay for a version of you that was trying to impress somebody. Serious earners tend to be more careful. They do not borrow for validation. They do not create payments just to feel upgraded. They understand that debt can quietly steal flexibility. And flexibility matters when you are trying to build. Habit number 15, building multiple income streams slowly. This is another place where social media has confused people. Everybody talks about 7 income streams like you are supposed to wake up on Monday and build all of them by Friday. That is not realistic. And honestly, it is how many people end up scattered. Serious earners usually build in layers. They start with one solid stream. Then they strengthen it. Then maybe they add another. Then over time they expand. 1, then 2, then more. Not 10 half-built things. Not constant switching, just steady expansion. Because multiple streams of income are powerful, yes, but they work best when they are built from strength, not panic. Now let's talk about the final category, time and discipline. Because at the end of the day, money is deeply connected to how you manage your days, not just your ideas, not just your potential, your days. And this is where serious earners often separate themselves in very quiet ways. Habit number 16, protecting their time aggressively. People who make serious money understand that time is not a small resource. It is one of the main ones. So they protect it. They say no more often than most people are comfortable with. No to distractions. No to random commitments. No to things that drain energy but add no real value. No to constant availability. And yes, sometimes that feels uncomfortable. Sometimes people think you are being too serious. Sometimes it feels easier to just say yes and go along with everything. But serious earners know that every yes costs something. And if you say yes to too much, you lose the time you needed for what actually matters. Habit number 17, waking up with intention. This does not mean everybody has to wake up at 4 a.m. That is not the point. The point is structure. They do not begin the day in chaos if they can help it. They wake up knowing what the day is for. There is some kind of intention, some kind of direction, some kind of plan. Because when your morning starts randomly, your day usually follows. And when your day keeps happening to you instead of being directed by you, it becomes very hard to build anything meaningful. Serious earners do not always wake up early, but they do try to wake up on purpose. Habit number 18, reducing distractions. This one sounds obvious, but it is one of the hardest, because distractions today are not always loud. Sometimes they look harmless. Few minutes scrolling, constant checking, random videos, little interruptions that seem small on their own. But they add up. They split your focus. They weaken your momentum. They make deep work harder. And serious earners know that focus is not just a personality trait. It is an environment. It is something you protect. So they reduce what pulls their attention in 10 directions. Less scrolling, less noise, more focus. Because money often follows people who can stay with one important thing long enough. Habit number 19, being okay with slow progress. This one matters more than people think. A lot of people do not fail because they picked the wrong path. They fail because they expected the right path to feel fast. And when progress looks slower than they imagined, they assumed it was not working. So they quit, they restart, they switch directions, they lose momentum. But serious earners often have a different mindset. They are more willing to let progress be slow. They understand that building takes time. They understand that income growth can be quiet at first. They understand that what looks small today may be compounding underneath. So they stay. And because they stay, they often outlast people who are just as talented but less patient. Habit number 20, repeating boring routines daily. And this brings us to the final habit. Repeating boring routines daily, not dramatic routines, not magical routines, boring ones, the same habits, the same discipline, the same priorities, again and again and again. And that is the part most people underestimate, because they want different results, but they are emotionally allergic to repetition. They want progress without routine, income without discipline, growth without structure. But serious money is often built through repeated ordinary actions, the same budget review, the same work block, the same savings transfer, the same focused hour, the same choices. Nothing exciting on the surface. But over time, those same routines produce completely different lives. Closing transition for this section, and that is the real secret. A lot of serious money is built by people who simply got good at doing the right boring things for a very long time. Now here's the truth that almost nobody tells you. These habits sound good in theory, but in real life, they do not make you feel rich immediately. That is important to understand. Because one of the hardest parts of building serious money is that for a while it can actually feel like you are behind. You are doing the responsible thing. You are making the mature choice. You are trying to build something solid. But from the outside, it does not always look impressive. Because while other people are showing wealth, you are quietly building it. And those are two very different things. One gets attention fast, the other creates stability later. So yes, sometimes it will feel strange. While your friends are upgrading apartments, you are telling yourself to stay where the rent makes more sense. While other people are financing newer cars, you are trying to keep your expenses under control. While people around you are booking trips, eating out all the time, and posting a lifestyle that looks exciting, you are saving, investing, paying things down, and trying to think long term. And if you are being honest, sometimes that can mess with you, because it can feel like everybody else is enjoying life while you are being careful. It can feel like you are sacrificing now while everyone else is moving ahead. It can feel like you are missing out. Pause. But you are not. You are just early. That is the part people do not see. They are watching the visible reward, but they are not watching the invisible cost. They are seeing the upgrade, but not the pressure behind it. They are seeing the lifestyle, but not the debt, the stress, the lack of margin, the paycheck to paycheck cycle hiding underneath it. And meanwhile, your life may look quieter right now. But quiet does not mean failing. Sometimes quiet means foundation. Sometimes quiet means discipline. Sometimes quiet means you are building a life that will not need to be constantly performed. So let me reframe this as clearly as I can. Being rich is not about looking rich. It is not about looking expensive. It is not about appearing ahead. It is not about building a lifestyle that gets quick approval from other people. Real wealth is deeper than that. It is about becoming the kind of person who can consistently create value, manage value, keep value, and grow value. That is the real shift. Because when people focus only on looking rich, they usually become dependent on appearances. But when people focus on becoming the type of person who naturally produces results, money starts to behave differently around them. Why? Because once you build the habits, money becomes a byproduct. Not magic, not luck, not a random accident, a byproduct. A result of discipline, a result of patience, a result of self-control, a result of focus, a result of repeatable behaviors that most people avoid because they are not glamorous enough. And that is why habits matter so much. Because habits do not just change your income. They change your identity. They change how you think, how you spend, how you work, how you wait, how you build. And once that identity becomes solid, you stop chasing money in a desperate way. You stop capable of generating it again and again. That is a completely different kind of power. So at the end of the day, the real question is not whether you want more money. Most people do. The real question is, what kind of money do you want? Do you want fast money or sustainable money? Because those are not always built the same way. Fast money is exciting. It makes great stories. It gets attention. It feels good in the moment. But a lot of the time it disappears just as quickly as it came. Sustainable money is different. It is quieter. It is slower. It is less impressive at first. But it stays. It gives you breathing room. It gives you options. It gives you stability. It gives you a life that does not constantly feel one mistake away from falling apart. And that kind of money is usually built through habits that look ordinary when you are doing them. That is why these unsexy habits matter. Because they may not make you look rich this week, but over time they can make you financially strong in a way that no flashy shortcut ever could. So maybe you do not need a brand new opportunity. Maybe you do not need another motivational speech. Maybe you do not need a more exciting plan. Maybe what you really need is better habits. Habits that work when you are tired. Habits that work when nobody is watching. Habits that keep building, even when progress feels slow. Because once those habits become part of you, $100,000 stops feeling like some distant fantasy. It starts feeling like a result of who you became. And that is the kind of money that changes everything.